Thank you for tuning into Culture Fix. Today I am joined by the brilliant singer-songwriter Benjamin Steer, who has just dropped his impressive single Be My Love, and he is out headlining his own Not So Nonchalant Tour in May. So you're everywhere. You're in Belgium, you're in France, you're in Germany, you're in the UK, so lots of cool stops. So thank you for taking the time to chat.
It's an absolute pleasure, Andrew. I'm honored to be here speaking to you.
Well, I'm excited because we actually share a connection because it is St Andrews. So I was reading that you are a graduate of St Andrews. I didn't study there. I was Edinburgh, so but I was married in St Andrews, so it's a place that's special to me as well. So
No way. That's yeah, and the amount of like I was in a writer I was in a room with a writer like a month ago, and he just like rocked up with a St. Andrews sweatshirt, and turns out he was an English major, and I was like, what the hell? So there's more connections in this industry than you would expect from that school. But
from
how
a tiny place, yeah.
yeah, well, congrats on getting married. I don't know when that was, but
Well, last summer. So St Salvator's, so you'll know it well the kind of the uni chapel. But yeah, so I mean, was it a kind of a place that fueled a sort of creative energy, St Andrews, or is that kind of slightly different to your journey?
I think for sure. I think I was on such a different path when I was there. I was studying economics, and to be honest, not until my third year did I buy a guitar or start even like entertaining the fact that I could maybe sing and play a little bit. But absolutely, like I think. I find like being like right now I'm in a house in like the Hollywood Hills. That makes me sound like a prick a little. But I'm like looking out and like I think St. Andrews is like such a it's like a place that operates on it complete extremes. Like it's so beautiful, but it's either so beautiful because it looks so sort of ominous and there's
Yeah,
fog and it looks grim and but like that inspires like some level of sort of sadness or whatever. But then other times, like during the summer, it's like completely beautiful. And I feel like when you're in settings like that, you sort of just wake up feeling like a
yeah,
little bit more inclined to make something that that matches the beauty of the surroundings.
yeah,
As
the
cliche
ambience.
as that sounds, but it's true.
And at what point were you thinking, okay, economics is not my vibe?
Well, I would probably say pretty early on, but I didn't know what the actual right vibe was. So I was sort of a little bit lost trying to figure out what you know what I actually wanted to do. I think I did love economics in some ways, and it certainly has helped my career. But I think I think maybe about 3 years in, I sort of felt like I mean, economics. There's always only one correct answer, and like you can spend like hours working towards something that someone maybe has already come up with, and I feel like obviously in songwriting, I like feeling like the idea was created and initiated. Um, by me in some
Yeah.
respect, and you can sort of um, start something completely on your own, and at the end of the day, have like a song. So, um, yeah, economics can be a little depressing as well. So maybe that was it. It was like I was missing some creative side of me that I didn't know I had at the time, but maybe now I have it a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, who knows if it would have brought you to the sunny heights of LA.
Mate, I'm pretty glad with the career change.
Yeah. Well, we need to chat about Be My Love because it's such a standout. Are we classing it as an EP or is there still more tracks to come from the? I know you've kind of grouped it as your previous four singles.
Yeah, I think Be My Love. I like to. It is sort of like this. We packaged it as an EP because we wanted to. we like packaging songs that are similar in the same vein, and I think "Be My Love" is such a great representation of what I feel like, how I'm feeling, and what I want to sort of convey to an audience in some respect, and but I certainly think that it's sort of the start of the next chapter of my uh, artistic journey, whether that is an album. Well, it probably will be an album. Um, but I think that's like such a perfect starting point because, yeah, I think lyrically and melodically, it's quite interesting. And I write a lot of love songs, but I write love songs that are bedded with angst and bedded with uncertainty. And um, maybe if someone like what I love to do and what I love about being my love is when you listen to it the first time, you think, wow, this is such a happy song. Like the guy is just going, be my love. But the more you listen to it, the more you can like listen to the lyrics, and particularly the second verse, like it's very sort of honest about obsession with love and like maybe over reliance on love to like make you happy, which I think is a common sentiment that people deal with when they're trying to figure out what they want. And yeah.
You've kind of, I think, with Trophy as well, and you kind of a few of your more recent songs, you've kind of hooked us in with quite big pop sounds, but actually when you dig into those lyrics, there is maybe a slightly more kind of angst and sort of emotional struggle going on within them. Um, I would love to just kind of dip into each of the tracks in the EP and just get your thoughts, your take, maybe either about the message, but I know sometimes people don't like to talk about the message, and maybe you'd rather talk about the kind of creation of the song. So
I'm
whatever
an
you
open
feel like sharing.
book.
So No One Wants to Die Alone was a big one, and it's obviously one of your major streaming hits.
Yeah. No, as a die alone, I think is really interesting. I mean, I that sort of because I'm such a new artist, it took me a really long time to figure out what my sound was, like what I wanted to say, and I think everyone wants to sort of take the listener on a journey in some respect and like have multiple layers of sort of interest in a song, kind of like whether it's the melody or the lyrics or um and No One's to Die Alone was sort of the first song I think I wrote and released that I was like, wow, this is exactly how I'm feeling. And like I think there's so much pressure on people, particularly in like their early 20s, to like figure out literally everything in their life, like their career and what makes them happy and what makes them sad and what friends they should have and what lover they should marry. And I think No One Wants to Die Alone came out of like a bit of frustration from the place that I was in my life, which was I just had like a completely massive career change. I didn't really know what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing, but I know a little bit more than did back then. But I think it sort of summarizes that angst and sort of uncertainty around being young and sort of like, it's a bit of a commentary on life and particularly like the pursuit of love and sort of this thing that I write a lot about, this sort of yearning uh proponent in my music, where it's like I know like everyone just wants to yearn fully and fall in love quickly with the people that they love and and sort of run away into the sunset with them. But I also think in the songs, in the nuance, there is sort of understanding that that's not really how people work. People are complicated. People don't really know what's going on in their lives. And I think I love the boil down of No One Wants to Die Alone, which is, yeah, everyone wants to yearn, and the bottom line is no one wants to die alone, but there's complexities in that. And particularly in this modern world of sort of online dating and like feeling like you need to put your perfect self on Instagram every 5 seconds. And yeah,
Yeah, kind of
I
lifting
love
that
that.
mask off.
Exactly, exactly. Like, I don't know, my favorite line is why do people take their masks? Why do people take their clothes off before they take off their masks? I actually think I've never written a better lyric than that. I'd be happy if that was the best lyric I've ever
That's a
written.
question I've got for you later on. You've answered it.
Um, but well, actually, there's a lyric in "Be My Love" which I really like. But like, yeah, I just think that's such a common sentiment. Like, people are just, I don't know, people are willing to like, you know, get naked, but they're not willing to like reveal a secret about themselves that might make them vulnerable because being vulnerable is like such a uh, well, it's an insecurity, it's an uncertainty. If you're vulnerable about yourself, like you're leaving yourself, you're like a turtle with its belly up. Like you just goo. So yeah, yeah, that's what I would say.
Oh, I think that it does, it comes across, and it's a real skill to relay a message that relates and is complex, but also kind of hooks people in a kind of primitive sort of musical sense. When you hear it straight away, I like this song, I want to listen to the song, but then obviously have that time to marinate a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about Miracle? That's a really interesting track.
Miracle is honestly like on a similar vein, but maybe after the end of something that you think was going to be the solution to all your problems. Sorry, my there's a washing machine going on in the back. Is it too loud? Can you hear it? I can
No,
turn it
I can't hear it at all. I can't hear it.
off. Okay. Um, um, Miracle, yeah, it's like the opposite side. I was seeing someone over the summer and I was doing exactly what I preach in No One Wants to Die Alone and a lot of my songs, which is just like fall straight in, don't ask any questions, just like run around like a headless chicken and just like be in love. And I love that feeling. But when you do that, again, you leave yourself open to be absolutely obliterated. Um, and Miracle was such an interesting song because I wrote that literally the second day I met this person, and then it all crashed and burned and fell apart for various reasons. But the reason was that people are complicated and and committing to something is a big deal, especially for people my age when they don't even know what they're doing. And yeah, you can even hear the angst in that one, which is sort of like that's why the line is I might have met a miracle, not I have met a miracle, because I like the sort of like the half committalness of it. Like it's not it is a love song, but it's not like a stone cold love song like this is the most perfect experience ever. Like we're running around on the beach with holding hands. Like it's got a little sort of complexity to it. And again, it shows like the this sort of like over reliance on on love being like this thing that will solve all your problems when love can really help you and make you a much, much better problem. And if you meet the right person, might solve all your problems, but love is like pretty complicated and can take a lot out of you. And you have to work at it and you have to commit to it and you have to give yourself up to get anything back from it. So, yeah, that was a weird one to market, though. I'm not gonna lie, because it would like we were. I was like in this thing, super happy, and we were like, let's put the song out, and then it crashed and burned, and I was like, yeah, it was a bit weird,
Yeah, and it's
but
putting that into a soundbite as well when it's actually
yeah,
quite a kind of complex and sort of tough backstory to then have to share in interviews and press releases and things. Um, how hard is that? Do you ever write a song and then actually I'm not ready to put that out there. I'm not really ready to kind of expose that part of my story or my journey so far.
oh for sure. for sure. I wrote a song called Judas about my best mate who slept with my ex-girlfriend and ran off with her. And yeah, that sucked. That was terrible. And in the moment, I was like, I'm gonna write a song about it because that's just what I do in these situations. And then I I posted it like a clip on TikTok of it, and like it kind of semi blew up, and I was like getting so much gratification. I was like, it was like an FU to them, you know.
It's a public shaming.
The public shaming, but then like then then you gotta like then you gotta do like 8 weeks of that. And after about the second week, you're kind of like, oof, should I have written this? Like, I don't want to put this out. But there's so much vulnerability in it. In any song, like every single artist, including myself, will go through moments where like they're like, is this right? Like, is it, I feel like I'm excessively exposing myself here. But I think ultimately what I found is the songs that you expose yourself the most and the songs that you're the most honest with are people connect with the best. Like I have no problem talking about like what each of these songs is about and being like really honest with it, even though it's a bit awkward and slightly embarrassing and doesn't make me look like a cool dude who just like, gets what he wants. But like it's yeah, it that's what people want to hear. They want to hear the things that they're thinking but would never say. And then they hear a song that is what they would say, sort of packaged together with a beautiful little melody and a sweet, sweet voice. I don't
An angelic voice. Um,
know.
Trophy obviously closes the kind of the 4 track EP. That was one that immediately stood out to me. I really, really do love that song. One of my favorites of the year so far. Although
Yeah.
was it? It was a really early release, wasn't it? Was it 1st of January or
Yeah, it was
one of the first
actually
songs of the year?
we didn't I don't really know what to do with Trophy because it's sort of like it's a bit left for my sort of what I've put out and but like people I went on tour. Well, I played a headline show, but then I went on tour with Arthur Hill and like I kind of that was the song in the set that like people were just like they reacted to it so positively and I sort of was like this is my sexy song, uh which was a bit I mean it was a bit of obviously it was a joke, but I think people like played into that a little bit and like I think I was pretty uncertain whether I should release it or not, but like seeing all that reaction. And then I think we put it out on January 1st because we wanted it to be sort of like a gift, a gift to the people that had showed it so much kind of love in some respect. And um, yeah, that's certainly like kind of like a fan favorite. Um, but again, that's like it is a similar vein of like of sort of sentiment as the other ones in some respect, but it's a bit more of a I'm so done with this kind of vibe. But also I love you, please come back. Or you treat me horribly, but if you call up, I'm just gonna run back to you, which is a very common sentiment, turns out, being in toxic relationships. And you can kind of frame that in any way, like Miracle, you know, is sort of like, you know, I might have met a miracle. No matter what you're going through, like you can treat me terribly, but you are still my miracle. Trophy is more like, why do you treat me like this? I feel like terrible all the time, but also I still love you. So, yeah, to boil it down into a very sort of elementary kind of description of it, but yeah.
I think they do, all 4 tracks do work really well together. I think there's a nice, just kind of sonically and message wise, there's definitely a lot of crossover there. And how important is the sequencing of those songs when you're putting together the track list? Is it very clear in your head which song goes where?
I think with everything you want to kind of I think about it like there's very few people that do this anymore, like listeners who will listen from top to bottom. Like a lot of people will just like shuffle play, or like I think in the era of Spotify, it's sort of taken a little bit of the magic away from like intentionality between like sequencing tracks. But I like to do it anyway for the people that do listen to it top to bottom. I just like it to sort of feel like kind of one relatively cohesive thought, or like the sort of the sort of like telling of a story, really. Um, and and I think you know I actually need a reminder of what I put the order as. Yeah,
Uh,
okay,
Be My Love opens it, I think, and
yeah.
Trophy closes it.
I like the fact that Be My Love, like we put I think Be My Love opens it because it's sort of like it's the most sort of in your face, easy, but you can get a gauge of the entire thing. It's the perfect summarization of everything. And then I think it sort of goes, I like to do angst, beautiful, angst. So I don't want to do angst, 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 angst,
Yeah,
depression, happy, 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 happy. I think you gotta like take people. It's like a movie. There's like, there's bits in the middle. Like you're like sometimes when I'm watching a movie, I'm like, is this the low? Like, is this the low point of the movie, or is there another low 20 minutes from now? But usually movies follow an arc. They're really happy in the beginning. They
yeah,
introduce the story. They start to do well. Then everything comes crashing down. They're dying, and then they literally just end up right where they were when they started.
yeah. But they
Uh,
appreciate it.
yeah.
Well, obviously the tour is coming up in May, so I can mention some of the places you're going. So Belgium, France, Netherlands, Germany, and the UK. I know you can't really say this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Where are you most excited to go?
Oh yeah. That's a tough one. I think I'm really excited to I'm really excited with the reaction that we've had from people in Germany. And like my mum's from Belgium, so I should be saying Belgium, but and I am Belgian and I love the Belgians. Uh but I think I wasn't expecting to do to have such a sort of like hunger from the Germans,
Mhm.
man. I love the Germans. And I played a couple of shows in Germany in August with this artist called Cameron Whitcomb, and they were just like some of the best crowds ever. Like they just like loved the music. It was actually it was weird. Sometimes you open for crowds and they'll just look like they're hating it, and then at the end they'll be like they'll just like scream, and you'll
Yeah,
you'll feel really gratified, but only at the end. The Germans just like they're just consistent all the way. They also like show up really early for like
efficiency.
it says 7 o'clock doors. They're no later than 7:05. They're just there, which I love. Um, and I think like it's very, touring, like especially announcing your first headline tour, like it's the most nerve-wracking thing I've literally ever done in my life. I said this like on my socials, but like you have a live, like setting up a tour is like so many different moving pieces. Like there are people who do the routing and they think about the cities, and they're much more qualified to make decisions than I am. And as the artist, you have an input and you sort of say where you want to go, but ultimately, like at the end of the day, you kind of get just sent a list of like cities and dates. Um, I last year played in front of 100 people in London and we like barely sold it out. And that was in July, late July. And now we're playing like Village Underground, which is, I don't know, like 900 or 1,000. And like just to have that. And I think I got sent this tour in December, which was only 4 months after this 100 cap show. And like it was like 15 cities. And like there was like a total ticket number at the bottom and it was like just stupidly high. I was like, what? Who's gonna come? And yeah, it was just like it's such like a leap into the unknown. And I shouldn't be saying this, but like I cut 4 cities from the tour because I was like, not I was like I would love to go there, but I just don't know if I can do it. And
Mhm.
like I was so anxious about it. I think every artist wants to sell out a tour. Like no, like you want to be you want people to be like you know lining up and like ready to go. Like that's the dream. And when you see such a big list like that, you're kind of like, oh, brother, I'm gonna be like the coldest ticket this summer. Like no one is gonna come. But I've just been so freaking blown away. Like it's just stupid. I kind of I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just super, super excited. I'm also excited to go. I mean, obviously London's the biggest show, but also like I think every place has its charm. North of England and Scotland, they're like just so hyped for literally anything. And you know, Ireland as well. Like they go off. Belgium's a little reserved, actually. I feel like I'm allowed to say that.
We're having a
Uh
great time.
they're having a great time, but they just keep it to themselves.
Yeah. Well, actually, this kind of leads on to the next question. What kind of
Uh,
atmosphere do you hope to craft at a Benjamin Steer show?
um, God, I hope people just let loose. Weirdly, I see a lot of my audience at live shows are very 50-50 split, men and women.
Okay.
And sometimes it's the girlfriend bringing the boyfriend. And sometimes I see the boyfriend and I'm like, this guy's not loose enough. Like he's gotta get down. And I think I just want people to just like have a not this is not a serious show. Like it's a little thoughtful, but ultimately I just
Oh,
want some
here for fun.
fists in the air. I want to sing loud. I don't know. It was so encouraging to like do my last headline show in London and just see like such like an interestingly diverse crowd. And like yeah, particularly but guys like a lot of guys like I wouldn't expect a lot of 20-year-old guys wanting to come, but I guess maybe I am a little bit of a spokesperson for 20-year-old male kind of life experiences. But yeah, one of like the most interesting things that like really made my evening that night was my my I have a friend who just joined a rugby team in South London. He's like from Mississippi. He's like this American dude, like super macho. Like I look at him and I'm like, I want to beat you. And he like just joined this rugby team and he came to the show on his own and he looked to his right during Miracle or something, and it was just three guys in his rugby team singing every word. And I was like, if I can get the rugby dudes of London to come to my show and be singing, I might have met a miracle in you.
You won.
I've won, baby. Yeah. So that was good. So I'm just excited for everywhere, and I hope people just have a good time. And it's my first tour, so I feel like I don't know. I feel like I just got to go kind of just full on and not
You got
think
to
too
hook
much.
them back for the second tour. This is it. You have to think long term.
Right.
How much do you kind of dig into the stats? Because obviously, I know now with streaming services, you get a lot of data back in terms of where people are listening, kind of demographics and kind of ages and genders and things. Do you look into that sort of thing? Do you kind of find that interesting, or do you think it's easier to just stay out and just keep doing what you're doing and hope that continues?
I'm extremely interested in that, which is actually not a very artistic thing for me to say, but I find it so fascinating to see what people react to. And like, I don't know. I don't know whether I believe other artists who say that they don't look at it because it's in your face every single day. Like, there's an app called Spotify for Artists, which is literally just like an app of stats. And like it's like my most used app. I'm on there all the time. I think it's look, I think that there's art and then there's analysis. And as long as you like kind of distinguish each one, you can compartmentalize them and you can be extremely artistic and which is what I try to be. And like be as honest and vulnerable and and in my music. But also when the song comes out, I kind of want to know how many people are listening to it,
Yeah.
and it's encouraging because it helps you know what you're doing well and it helps you know what you're not doing well. And like, it's I I feel a lot of imposter syndrome in this industry because I'm so new and young to it that I almost feel like my job is to service the people that are listening. Like it's not to um fulfill some sort of self-righteous prophecy that I am the guy and you should listen to me. Like I want to just like kind of channel my experiences into something that someone goes, I love that. And then like feed as much as I can to that because yeah, I don't know. I feel so fortunate to be in this position, and so I feel like it would be a disservice to not do that.
The more you release and the more you kind of perform live shows, do you feel that imposter syndrome fades away slightly, or do you think that's always going to be part of this industry?
I think if you're progressing constantly, it's sort of like it's always there. It just, but I think you kind of like, yeah, I think it's quite it has been quite difficult for me in the past, but I think you sort of just you kind of just embrace it as and once you start selling your own shows, I think it goes away a little bit because you're sort of like, well, there are people that are actually coming, but you do question in your head, you're like, why are they coming for me? Like I don't know. It's such a weird thing, and can be such a mental sort of like kind of I don't know. It's really difficult to explain. But I think the more you get used to playing live and get used to releasing songs and sort of growing in every capacity, you kind of do a little bit take it in your stride in some respect. Um, but that's not to say that there's not a raging amount of insecurity that exists. But also a lot more kind of confidence as time goes on. But first shows I ever did, I was like, what am I doing here? But now I'm like, what am I doing here? But this is fun.
Well, if I could say anything, that I hope it does fade because it's the success is truly warranted. That the music is great, and I'm not seeing you live yet, but really looking forward to it, and hopefully catch you in Glasgow.
Mate,
Um,
let me know. I'll put you on
yeah.
the list.
So I would love to wrap up with a quick fire round, just some kind of first thing that pops into your head. Hopefully nothing too tricky. So are you more of a morning songwriter or late night studio sessions?
Late night all the day. Late night with a couple of beers. That's
Sorted.
perfect.
What was the first song you learned to play?
Feeling Whitney by Post Malone. Yeah, kind of a mad one.
One artist who is always on your playlists?
I think it has to be Ed Sheeran. Ed Sheeran, but it's all multiply. I think Bloodstream is on every single playlist I've ever made. But the rudimental remix.
I was
It's
going to say, if there's remixes, it lends itself to lots of playlists.
yeah.
What is a song that you wish you'd written yourself by another artist?
Uh, Another Love by Tom Odell. I think it's like the best song ever, actually. Um, yeah, I would take that in a second.
What is the best city you have played so far? Or the most memorable, maybe we say.
Super easy again. It's Copenhagen. Copenhagen is literally the best city in the entire world. I don't know why more people don't live in Copenhagen. I mean, to be honest, I don't know whether they would even have me. It's
Yeah,
money.
I was going to say I would love to live in Copenhagen, but I could not afford to live in Copenhagen.
In your world, Copenhagen, yeah.
Yeah, they just have it. Everything feels right, doesn't it? Um, would you, if you could choose an album to listen to on repeat, what would it be?
Row choice, but this French artist called Stromae. released this album called Multitude, which is a couple of years old, but like so blinking good.
Okay.
And I don't really even understand most of the words, but it's just sonically, it's just like perfect.
Okay. Um, what is one non-musical hobby that you have that people might not expect?
I do a lot of side quest hobbies. I just bought an espresso machine and I'm like trying to perfect my espresso. I play an absurd amount of this game called GeoGuessr, where you just get like put on a road in the world and you have to figure out where you are. And like I know the Kenyan like lamppost things. Like that is like what I'm actually obsessed with.
Now you're
Weird
talking. That's a
stuff.
good night. That is a good night. What is a lyric that you're most proud of?
Um, it's a very cheeky one. Why? There's two, and they're both kind of cheeky. Actually, there's three. There's the why do people take their clothes off before they take off their masks? In Trophy, there's one that says, um, "Am I just your plaything? Because you're pulling on my heartstrings. You say you love me when you're finishing." Shouldn't be advertising that to everyone, but you can interpret that how you want. That's the cheekiest lyric I've ever written. And there's a lyric in Be My Love which goes, I count the hollow-hearted lovers on a loveless leash, counting the money that they make off of me. And I was like, that's interpreted in many different ways because I'll leave that to interpretation as well. But that's one of my favorite lyrics. Right.
There's a lovely grasp of the English language on your tracks, and I would have thought if I would put money on the fact that you'd maybe studied English lit or something instead of economics.
Dude, I was the worst English student ever. I got C's throughout the whole of high school. Like I think I have some moderate level of dyslexia. Like, but weirdly, I'm like kind of okay at writing songs, probably because there's no spell check or grammar involved.
No, I think it's definitely a calling there. But final question: what was the most surreal moment of your music career so far?
I think personally, and then, well, I think surreal was probably playing Brixton Academy when everyone put their lights up during Miracle. That was like absolutely absurd, but that wasn't necessarily my crowd. So I mean, it was some of it. Some of people knew who I was, but it was someone else's crowd. I think the biggest, best moment for me was after my second headline at Omera. I, it was like a very specific moment. I like had told the crowd that I was going to go out and play like on the street. And I really didn't want to do it because I thought I just done my job. I've been up here for 2 hours. Like, n no one's going to stay in the cold to listen to me. Again, it's like more of that imposter syndrome. And I was like at the merch stand, and one of my guys came out and was like, "You should probably come outside." I'm like, it's like, no, please, I don't want to go out there. And I went out and there was like literally like 200 people had stayed. This was like a 350 cap venue and like 200 of the 350 had stayed. And it was like this crowd was like spilling onto the streets a little bit. And I went up and just played two songs and like they knew every single word. And that was amazing. But the best part was at the end. This is such like a rock star. Can I say shit? Such a
Yeah, go
rock
for
star.
it.
But like I was like pulled inside by this like security guy afterwards, and he was like, mate, you do realize like you just shot down the street, and I was like, fuck yeah. That
That's
was
your
the
TV out a hotel window moment.
moment of genuinely the best moment of my career so
Uh,
far.
well, something tells me you will be seeing a lot of these people when you hit the road in May. But thank you so much, Benjamin. It's been lovely chatting to you and really interesting to hear the stories behind the songs and to hear what we can expect from the tour. So it's really appreciated.
Oh mate, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks so much for having me and interviewing me.
Yeah, well, enjoy the rest of your time in LA and hopefully some great songs come out of it.
Yeah, me too, because I need some good ones. I'm not gonna lie.
Right. Well, thank you so much. Talk soon.
Cheers, Andrew.